In today's video, we're going to go out with the old and in with the new. So today is the day. If you haven't seen the previous video where I mounted all my 3D printed parts onto the lathe, I'll link it down below. But today is the day where I take these pieces off because I finally finished all of the aluminum pieces to replace them. It's been a long time coming and it's finally here. So in this video, we're going to take all of the aluminum or the 3D printed pieces off. You can see there too. We're going to install bearings into the appropriate pieces, and we're going to mount all the hardware. And then at the end, hopefully we'll have something that resembles a CNC lathe that has, you know, metal pieces instead of these plastic ones. So let's get the camera set up and then we'll get to work. Well, here we go. We got everything mounted. All the aluminum parts. I got the motor mounts there and there. This main bearing block. You can see I got this one actually I modified from the previous design, which if I grab, here's the old ball screw. You can see here where it's open on this side, and I don't know if you can see down in there, but I got it backs up against a wall. And in here, I'll try and show you a picture of what it looked like before, but I actually modified it during the build. This is all off camera, but I shaved off this face because I realized when I go and press all of this together with the bearing, if I had it the way I had it designed, I'd have to press it all the way from this side all the way through the block to go up against a wall that I had here. And trying to think of how to make it easier to assemble, I decided I was going to cut this face off and I'm going to redesign it to have a wall back here where the bearing banks up against. So that's one thing that I gotta change or update in the future. I also I got pretty excited with machining all these things and getting them all done that I neglected to check my bore before I took it out of the machine or when I was machining it. it's a little loose, and so the bearing slides in there. So I gotta remake that piece anyway. Same with this guy. I don't know if you guys can see it. I'll try to take a picture of it, but my hole might be a little too small. You can see, I'll try and get a picture of it, but you can see some aluminum looks like curled up from when I pressed it into the bearing into the block. Some other things that happened off camera that I didn't show you guys is, I'm sure you guys, if you guys rewind and you see it, I didn't totally bolt this guy into here, or I didn't clamp this together. That's because I didn't have enough bolts. These are M8 bolts that I have here, and the ones that I had in the plastic piece or the printed piece, because it was printed, I ended up tapping it myself, and at that time I didn't have M8, but I had, I think it was 3/8 or 1/4 inch a tap, and so I just tapped it and put in this side looks like 3/8 maybe, but a 3/8 thread. And so when I went to the real thing, machined out of aluminum, I didn't have the right bolts. So during when I was recording, I didn't have the right bolts, but since then I went to the store and I got all the needed hardware for all the pieces. Oh yeah, one other thing too, talking about modifications or changing things, the threads in all of my blocks, I got threads on the main motor mount. I got threads on this side and threads on this side. You can see there's a bolt here, bolt coming through here. Same thing here. And I think in this ball nut block, through the development of all this, I had the cheapo threads, or thread, there you go, or taps. I don't know if it can get really in focus, but where it's not a bottoming tap. I did this originally so I could, if I break it in the machine, I'm out, whatever it costs, this cheap cost for the cheap taps. Well, since then, I've gone and bought bottoming taps, and so that's gonna be my next step. I actually went and hand threaded some of these that didn't screw in all the way on those blocks, but I went and re-tapped all those by hand. I'm getting my tooling set up. I got tools here, but I'm gonna retouch off all my tools, and so when I tell it to go, some depth, it's going to be threaded that whole depth. I'm not going to have that tapered end on the bottom of the thread. So that's a improvement that I'm going to make too on this design. One other thing that happened off camera, and one thing I talked about in the previous video when I had all the 3D printed pieces, is, if I can take this off, is it's kind of hidden, but back here, this is where I had the control board. Let's see if we can find it. Oh, this guy. In the previous video, I talked about this guy, which is the control board that comes with these little tiny lathes that usually sits behind this panel. This guy is what controls the RPMs of the spindle, and this is the guy. This one broke on me. I didn't want to repair it or fix it because that's obsolete, and so I went and bought another DC control board. And so this one, actually, I think the motor is for the voltage is up to 110 volts DC. I think that's what it says down here. Yeah, I'll show you guys real quick. I don't know if it's in focus, but that's what it is. But this control board that I found, I forget what the company is. It is, oh, Minarik drives. So that is, I think I got the 21000A, this guy. I'll put a link down in the description of what I got. But I basically wired that up. It works flawlessly. The only issue, not really issue, but the only constraint is that that board only goes up to 90 volts DC and not the 110 that's on here. So my RPMs are a little bit skewed, or I can't get, like, I'll say full power out of it. But compared to my last video where I had my little tiny power supply hooked up and I was just changing the voltage up to 12 volts, I actually wired everything, you know, appropriately in there, and then also got Mach 3 configured, so where now when I go to Mach 3 and I got, you can see here, I got 500 as my current RPMs I want to go to. If I push the spindle button down here, you can see we're spinning. I also too, I didn't have it set up in the last video, but my RPM sensor, which is right there, you can see it kind of flickering there, but I didn't have that configured last time. I got it fixed. It's off, and you can see from what what I commanded, but it's repeatable. This says 380, 379. I also, you can kind of see it on here. I got painter's tape on there to try and help me hit the sensor or go through it. But I also got this reflective tape that I put on the spindle and this other RPM sensor. And if I go here, 379. So it matches up to what this is reading. And this will go up to, I think I got it with the 90 volt power supply. I can go up to, I think, 1800. I'll go up to 1000 first. I don't want to go too crazy. 1000. Goes faster. And it reads up, we're at 986. And we'll go a little bit faster. Hopefully you guys can still hear me. 1800. That thing is going. I'll go in here and make it go down slower. Oh, doesn't want to go down. Oh, for some reason I tripped the limit switch, so I don't know why it didn't want to back off. I think that was the reason why it tripped. But anyways, so I got all that stuff hooked up, so now it can truly act like a CNC machine or a lathe. I did this in the last video, but just to confirm that it still works, my axes, I'll go and use the up and down arrows. Oh wait, I need to reset stuff. Hold on. Reset. Okay. Now we can move. See, Z-axis still moves. I gotta change my steps. I still haven't done that, but it moves, so that's a good thing. Oh yeah, one thing to note is I changed up the limit switch configuration. I can see if I can undo this. Not really configuration, but the block design to make it more machinable. Before I had it to where it's like some crazy, almost S shape. Let's see if I can find an old one. Yeah, here's an old one. So I had this, and then I made this to where it's more rectangular, and also gives you something to hold on to. Like if you were to try to install this, you got, you know, kind of a thumb grip. You can put it on there and seat it. Compared to this guy, where this is, you know, more of a, not a nightmare, but more difficult to machine, you know, because you got thin pieces and it's not a square body. It's, you know, a T shape, almost like a C shape. So that's something else I changed. What else do I got? Oh, so I got some to-do. I made a to-do list I need to do. So I already talked about it, but I needed to redo my bores on my bearing holes. And then I gotta put that wall in this mount so I can have something solid for the bearing. So when I'm pushing the carriage this way and it's engaging apart, that force is going to be transferred back to here. And with this currently being loose, it's not going to, what's going to constrain it is this motor. And we don't want to hurt the motor. So I need to have a bearing surface in here that will take that load and transfer it back to the body of the lathe. What else do I got on my to-do list? Oh, my ball nut block. You can see it's already slightly modified from the previous one. Previous one looked like it was like the male symbol. But again, for manufacturability, I added, you know, this square corner back there so I can get this wire out of the way to make it easier to machine. But then one thing I noticed was in the assembly of this, I got to install that when I'm pressing my bearings in. And to me, that seemed like, you know, a silly thing to do. To say, you know, what if I forget to do that, or, you know, I need to fix something up here and take it apart. Well, then I gotta disassemble everything. So one thing I want to do is I want to cut a slot on the back side, the width of this ball screw. So in the case that I need to replace just something right here, I can just undo the bolts on this side, and then, of course, these ones up here, and then this guy will just slide right out. That's one thing I want to adjust. And then some cosmetic things just to make things look nicer. Also help with assembly, like this plate. You know, it kind of slightly annoys me that this plate thickness, and get this out of the way, is not in a coplanar with this plane and this plane. There's a slight step up there. That's more of a, you know, a cosmetic thing. Things function, and it works. So, oh, the last thing I gotta fix is this guy. So my RPM sensor, it works, it's great, but when I go and try and mount this guy on here, I try and turn this, the spindle is hitting something, and I found out that I overlooked that here you got these bolt holes or bosses to allow the bolts that hold this cover on, which go right here. Well, my actual little blade that I have here actually you know, covers that hole. So that's something I gotta reconfigure. It's either I move this, or maybe I get a different sensor. I get an actual proximity sensor and mount it, you know, somewhere clear out of the way, away from the bolt holes. And those are probably the small group of onesie twosie things that will help get this to the next level. I still don't have a tool on here. I was thinking about, just for the sake of having something mounted again, putting this guy back on and then being able to mount the tool and go just cut something. I want to do that for this video, but without a, you know, of course, a bearing, a force, you know, a wall in here to take that force of machining. I didn't want to do that, so I want to fix that first before I actually machine something. So there'll be another video after this, at least. But yeah, hopefully this is a good informational video for you guys, those that have followed it, or those that have found it and, you know, like CNC machining and maybe want your own kit. Let me know. I might be persuaded to make kits available for people to buy, or maybe the models to download. I don't know. And there's a lot of effort in here, so maybe there'd be a, you know, some amount of cost. I don't know. Or maybe we're just, you know, become friends and I give it to you. I don't know. But anyways, hope you guys all enjoyed this. If you liked all this stuff, give the video a like. If it deserved it and you like this kind of stuff, consider subscribing, because I'm never going to not work on stuff like this where it's, you know, wiring, electronics, motors, machining. Once I get this done, I'm going to work on another big project that I don't want to tell you about. I want to finish this first before I get anyone's hopes up. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next one.